the United Nations General Assembly has delivered a stinging rebuke to Donald Trump, voting by a huge majority to reject his unilateral recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The vote came after a redoubling of threats by Nikki Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, who said that Washington would remember which countries disrespected America by voting against it. Despite the warning, 128 members voted on Thursday in favor of the resolution supporting the long-standing international consensus that the status of Jerusalem, which is claimed as a capital by both Israel and the Palestinians, can only be settled as an agreed final issue in a peace deal. Although largely symbolic, the vote in emergency session of the World Body had been the focus of days of furious diplomacy by both the Trump administration and Israel, including Trump's threat to cut U.S. funding to countries that did not back the U.S. recognition. But only 9 states, including the United States and Israel, voted against the resolution. The other countries which supported Washington were Togo, Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, Marshall Islands, Guatemala, and Honduras. 22 of the EU 28 countries voted for the resolution, including the UK and France. Germany, which in the past has abstained on measures relating to Israel, also voted in favor. 35 countries abstained, including 5 EU states and Canada, which Palestinian officials had expected would support the U.S. position. Ambassadors from several abstaining countries, including Mexico, used their time on the podium to criticize Trump's unilateral move. Another 21 delegations were absent from the vote, suggesting that Trump's warning over funding cuts and Israel's lobbying may have had some effect. While support for the resolution was somewhat less than Palestinian officials had hoped, the meager tally of just 9 votes in support of the U.S. and Israeli position was a serious diplomatic blow for Trump. Immediately after the vote, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas described the result as a victory for Palestine. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected the UN vote out of hand. Israel thanks President Trump for his unequivocal position in favor of Jerusalem and thanks the countries that voted together with Israel, together with the truth, said a statement from Netanyahu's office. Speaking to the assembly before the vote, Haley, who earlier in the week told members that the U.S. would be taking names, returned to the offensive. Of all the issues at the heart of the enduring conflict between Israel and the Palestinians, none is as sensitive as the status of Jerusalem. The Holy City has been at the center of peacemaking efforts for decades. 70 years ago, when the UN voted to partition Palestine into Jewish and Arab states, Jerusalem was defined as a separate entity under international supervision. In the War of 1948 it was divided, like Berlin in the Cold War, into western and eastern sectors under Israeli and Jordanian control respectively. 19 years later, in June 1967, Israel captured the eastern side, expanded the city's boundaries, and annexed it, an act that was never recognized internationally.